What is up, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube? That's right, I'm Chris Smith. Today I'm going to be talking about the Shannara Chronicles, Season 1, Episode 10. So let's get this thing started. Here it is right now. So this is the finale, right? This is the big deal. How did it live up to all the hype? Well, it did a pretty decent job, and for the most part, I'd say they could get a second season, but they really got to work on a couple of things, right? So some things that actually did manage to kind of be put in here was that the war, right? It was a big war going on. It was very like Dragon Age-ish, as it probably compared this to before and whatnot, but it felt very Dragon Age-ish, and obviously it was very predictable as to what may or may not happen. But everything actually worked out well. This episode definitely kept a good pacing, and that was the good case of the shit, right? I'm not gonna spoil too much. But they kept a good pacing to the point where it never really felt like it was slow compared to some of the episodes in the previous and this season, whatever. I never really felt slow. They never really did too much of the love triangle stuff. They did here and there, but not too much to really like ruin the entire episode or whatever. Now, some other things was that they actually committed, right? Somebody was telling me this last week. I almost didn't even believe them, but I guess MTV had enough balls to actually do it. Now, somebody told me that Amber Lee becomes a tree. And at first glance, I was just like, okay, you're fucking with me, right? You're trolling me. But no, it actually was. She becomes a tree, and then she becomes a tree in here. And I was just like, wow, they actually committed. They were not bullshitting. But she becomes a tree, and then, now Will is just left looking stupid because he chose the wrong girl. Apparently, she's a tree. So while he's talking to the tree, the first thing I thought was of like Mark Wahlberg and like The Happening, where he's just like, I don't want to hurt you, but I'm talking to a plant. That's what I thought, and it just seemed it didn't come across that well. If you're not a fan of the books, you're probably going to think, well, that just seems stupid. She's a tree. Was she going to fuck the tree now, right? But overall, this was a good episode. Like I said, they kept the pacing up. They introduced some new storylines that may or may not go to the second season if they get one. So I thought that was good, kind of like covering their own asses. But for the most part, they wrapped everything up pretty well. Will kind of banks Amber Lee right before she becomes, a tree. So he pretty much fucked a seed. That's pretty much what it was. But for overall, like I said, I thought this actually was a good episode. We set up Ben in. Now he's like the villain, I'm assuming, in the next season to see how that goes because he killed someone or whatever it was. But yeah, this was good. Now, some things that I really didn't like personally was that Eritrea kind of sacrificed herself, right, to let Will and Amber Lee go to fight off the trolls. The problem is that how the fuck can she take out just one person, right? Take out like 4, 5, 6 trolls, right, on her own. But all 3 of them have a problem with taking out just one. To me, that didn't make any sense, and it just kind of came off as just like, well, she can be strong when she can be, and she can be weak when she can be also. So it doesn't really make any sense, personally. But overall, yeah, I thought this was actually pretty good. Now, just in general with the season, overall reviewing the season was that the season had a lot of slow starts, right? And a lot of slow episodes. And sometimes some characters get developed more than others. And sometimes I do feel like that's kind of what ruined the show. But what worked well in the show was that it was the visual aspect and the world and the big budget that made you kind of get captured into this shit that actually worked. Sometimes the love triangle stuff really did not come across that well. Even in this episode, really didn't come across that well. Because Will is getting kissed by Eritrea while he's also still in love with, Amber Lee. I don't know what type of love triangle this is, but I'm guessing he's going after, Eritrea now because, he can't fuck a tree. So he's just like, damn, I chose the wrong girl. But yeah, that's the basic thing is that they need to work on better character development. The visual world was great in here, and they had a nice big budget and a lot of nice creature designs, whatever. But where they fell at was the love triangle stuff and the slow starts, and they tried to make it too MTV and less fantasy. This was like MTV fan fiction, and sometimes it didn't come across that very well, and it kind of ruined the show, and that's why a lot of the people that read the books hate this shit. But just judge it as a show, and overall as a show, it's a decent show that I think this episode kind of proved that maybe if you give them a chance, they can probably do a better season 2, but that is debatable. But that's my review. Comment, subscribe, and like. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.